Very well, many thanks indeed for keeping me company. We're looking at NCDs, non-communicable diseases. And just like I mentioned a minute ago, is that we're talking about hypertension, high cholesterol, depression, diabetes, you name it. Just some quick statistics that we are talking about significant health burden, especially for Kenya, accounting for about 27% of all deaths annually. Yeah, and recent modeling studies indicate that 51% of Kenyan adults currently suffer from at least one NCD. For this conversation, the non-communicable diseases, we'll be calling them NCDs, and the higher burden, 62% of the 51% being people who have one ailment or another, more or less like HIV and AIDS and maybe hypertension and others. And the most prevalent NCDs in Kenya, as I mentioned, is hypertension, high cholesterol, depression, and diabetes. Those are the major ones, but of course there are many. But because of the interest of time, allow me to rope in my panel of experts, beginning from my immediate left, where we have Amos Kamau, who is a nutrition advocacy advocate. Karibu sana.
Thank you so much, Ben.
Just next to him, we have Bevon Mugoshi.
Yes.
Bevon Mugoshi is an NCD advocate, that is non-communicable disease advocate, and also a patient, a type 1 diabetes patient. Karibu sana.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Maybe guys, to very quickly, in a nutshell, when you talk about non-communicable diseases in Kenya, the statistics can only tell us what maybe we want to hear, but where are we in terms of the most prevalent, the ones that are really taking a lot of lives, just like we've seen in these statistics?
Okay, thank you so much, Ben, for having us here. The
Karibuni
KBC
sana.
studio.
Apologies, we had to go to State House first.
We're also there.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. I would start by giving you an overview of what NCDs are. Mm-hmm. So NCDs are diseases that are not transmissible. Me seated here, I cannot transmit an NCD to you. They take a very long time to develop and even show up. So NCDs are those diseases that are chronic, that is, they take time before they show up so that you can say you have an NCD. Most of them have various risks. Some are modifiable, some are non-modifiable, which you also get through that. But when it comes to statistics, we have very worrying statistics. I believe these are the ones that have brought this conversation to the national level, regional, and even international level, having forums and conferences talking about how can we invest in NCD so that we can prevent or bring to an end to this constant rise. As we speak now, NCDs account to the highest killer of people in the world, globally, number one. When we zone in as well in Africa, becoming a challenge in a very worrying state. Coming to Kenya, it's still part of the most, the diseases that are costing Kenyans money. So in terms of statistics, we have them like cardiovascular diseases, which are the top, followed by cancer as one of the NCDs that are causing havoc in Kenya as we speak. Yes.
And we'll be looking as also, because there's something that you've mentioned, is that it's more or less like we need to really look at these issues and how lifestyle is playing into this as well, because lifestyle is not making these things better, is it?
No.
All right, let me go to Bevon. I was shocked to hear that you're a type 1 diabetes patient and also an NCD, that is a non-communicable disease advocate. That also, in a way, also encouraged me, because you're not only a patient, but you also want to advocate so that you may alleviate the burden that these people undergo. So I would like to, first of all, pick your mind in regards to the type 1 diabetes, that for the interest of our viewers, we have seen that maybe old age being associated with diabetes, but Kenyans also need to know that type 1 diabetes you can even get if you're a child, when you're a child.
Yes.
Kindly talk about it.
So we have two types of diabetes. You have type 1 diabetes and type 2 diabetes. So the one with type 1 diabetes, they don't have insulin at all, whereby you need to inject insulin so that it can help the body function. And for the type 2 diabetes, they have insulin, but the insulin is not sufficient to able to work into their bodies. And in Kenya, we have so many people who are type 1 diabetes, which the number is very big, it's worrying, and the government is trying to come up with the solution how they can take care both of the type 1 diabetes and type 2 diabetes.
Let's zero in on type 1 diabetes. When were you diagnosed and how have you been able to manage?
So I was diagnosed in the year 2015, and since then my life has been involved in insulin management, regular blood checkup, and healthy lifestyle choices. So it hasn't been easy for me. I've been facing a lot of challenge, mostly on the availability and affordable of the insulin
and the cost, yes,
and the supplies.
Yeah.
So this is the one that drives me to become an advocate, so that other people who are on the same condition should not face the challenge that I've been facing. You'll
be telling us what exactly you are doing and what does an NCD advocate actually mean. But back to you, Mugoshi. Kamau, I'm looking at non-communicable diseases, and I'm looking at the lifestyle that we are currently living. High cholesterol, you know, some of the things that we didn't hear back in the 80s and back in the 70s. Looking at diabetes, the cases were not as pronounced as they are now. I'm looking at depression. I'm looking at cancer, which has been, I think, one of the biggest killers in the world. So how much does lifestyle play in regards to either management or either having a non-communicable disease?
Okay, thank you, Ben. Let me bring you to a term referred to as nutrition transition. I myself have been looking and following it up through various literatures. This means when countries are developing, they tend to move from their traditional diets to a diet called the Western diet or the modern diet. This is a diet that has high ultra-processed foods. They have high fatty foods, much more high with foods with high salt. So, and a change in lifestyle. So this nutrition transition, this change brings out a change in their lifestyles, their behaviors, how they act based on the economic status, based on their understanding or awareness of these specific diseases. So these nutrition transitions brings us to Kenya where it is now. Kenya is one of the countries in Africa which is easily westernized. So that means we are adopting a diet or a lifestyle that is from the Western. We know the statistics in the Western countries in terms of NCDs, diabetes, and even the cost of healthcare for specifically diabetes. Actually, it's kind of can take a GDP of an African country just investing in treatment of diabetes in one of the countries like USA. So the lifestyle we are adopting now is a devastating lifestyle. And I think I'll bring my viewers to the fact that we are losing our traditional, just as you have mentioned, these diseases were not mentioned earlier, but now are being mentioned. You and I can attest the number of ultra-processed foods in our market and the kind of lifestyle we are taking. For example, we are not physically active ourselves. We are not even taking fruits and vegetables. For example, there's a report that says over 90% of Kenyans do not take less than 5 servings of vegetables per day, to a point that even in a day, there's somebody who does not consume vegetables. What do they consume if they do not consume vegetables or fruits? They take carbohydrates. Much more worse, if they are not taking carbohydrates that are from their own traditional diet, they are taking carbohydrates that have been refined. So that is why these diseases are getting the highest rates as fast as possible. And to shock you, Central Kenya is one of the most affected.
Why is that?
I still wonder. It's something we are trying to understand. Why is Central Kenya? Because Kiambu, Nyandarua, there was a report that was released by the Division of Nutrition and Dietetics earlier, I think last week on their website, shows the statistics or the indicators. We call them nutrition indicators. It showed that Central Kenya women have the highest, call them, they are overweight and obese. Other cases, other areas like Kirinyaga, Nyandarua, it's worrying in that sense. So our lifestyle is changing. And these diseases are an indicator of a change in our lifestyles to the worse.
Yeah, we will be waiting for that to know why we are having these many cases in the Murima. Bevan,
Yes.
I'm looking at malaria, HIV, cancer. Government has made concerted efforts in regards to this, to these diseases, some of which are not communicable. But in your view, the efforts that are being put in place in regards to people having or suffering from NCDs, like cancer and diabetes as well, are they as pronounced? Because I know they are not as pronounced as the efforts that we have in regards to malaria. You know, we have TB. TB is free. The treatment is free in government hospitals. I'm looking at cancer. You know, there are some concerted efforts in regards to maybe finding out and some of the treatment. And HIV and AIDS, actually the drugs, before USAID stopped its aid, these drugs were offered free. What about when it comes to non-communicable diseases?
For non-communicable diseases, I would say the government is trying because of the UHC, but we still have gaps. In fact, on the medication. We have some medication that NCD patient, you have to pocket so that you can get those medication, and they are really expensive. Yeah, so there's a big gap between the supplies and the medication, which most of the hospitals, if you go and I believe government is talking about SHA, but if you go to the hospitals, SHA, it's working in some hospitals, but to get the chronic disease medication, it's not available. Yeah.
And when you talk about advocacy, you are an NCD advocate.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that you do to ensure that not only Kenyans know about non-communicable diseases, but also get help? Because as you have rightly put it, is that some of these NCDs, the cost of treatment or management is very high.
Yes. Yeah, I'll talk about the diet. Diet is the risk factor for NCDs. And foods like food that have high sugar, salt, unhealthy fats, and processed food are easily available to the market. So you found that most of people are consuming this food without knowing. So as an NCD advocate, what you are doing, we are coming up with preventive policies, like the one of the front of pack warning nutrition labels that will enable the consumer to know which food that has high sugar, high salt, and unhealthy fats. And also as an advocate, you are really pushing for affordable and access to treatment. Yeah. Then as an advocate, you are training other advocates in different counties. I'm sure right now NCDAC Alliance have trained more than 22 counties for advocates, and also you are doing digital advocacy, whereby the advocates can use their platform, their online, to amplify their voices.
All right.
Yeah.
And because of the interest of time, I'm informed that I need to wrap up. What is one thing that you can talk about in terms of NCDs, their nutrition and diet, especially for anyone who's suffering from one of these diseases?
Okay, thank you so much, Ben. I want to bring them to pace to the fact that, as Bevan has mentioned, you cannot get NCDs just from air. You have to have specific factors coming to play so that you develop an NCD. We have different risks that put you at risk getting NCDs, be it age or family history. But the most modifiable one, like unhealthy diets, which we have at least at hand now. At this point, we are able to influence the quality of diets in our markets. And that's why like NCDAC is doing training, even journalists, to report on NCDs, to increase awareness of NCDs, is a way that we are helping you as a Kenyan citizen to know that you should be screened on NCDs. For example, I did a camp in Kitengela. There was a mother who could not even know she has diabetes or she has even blood pressure. So just saying, I have this exists, it always remains like that. So I think we need to heighten even policies. Because as an individual case, it may be difficult. It may be better to solve a case at an individual. But when we create a food environment that is supportive, for example, in such policies like front of pack warning labels, we are able to influence a large proportion. So somebody who's suffering from any chronic disease, especially the NCDs, should always seek guidance from the hospital, especially from a nutritionist, a registered dietitian nutritionist, because they are trained to treat, prevent, and even care for the NCDs, as we also do it in a multidisciplinary team in the healthcare.
Yeah, Bevan, you are one of the few people who might maybe have known and are advocating for better management of NCDs.
Yes.
Some people, just like Kama has observed here, is that they do not even know that you either have hypertension, cancer, or when it comes to screening and information, there are some people who don't know that there are two types of diabetes, even some who are already learned. But when it comes to the management of these diseases, that is when now you feel the pinch itself. I have seen the government, actually President William Ruto did unveil last year, but the community health promoters, the CHPs, who are in the mashinani. They can be able to check your pressure, they can be able to check your sugar, they can also be able to advise you on a nutrition. How much is this going into the mashinani to help people who are suffering from NCDs like diabetes, just like you?
Okay, I think there's a gap between other conditions and NCDs. So even if we have the CHPs going around, taking the blood sugar, taking the measurement, and looking around the community, you may find that the same CHBs, they don't know more about the NCDs. So even if they come across a patient who has the condition, they'll not tell and not even direct that person to the right facility. Yeah, so I think we should empower the CHPs, even the community, with the information on NCDs. And also, we should have preventive policies and system that enhance and talk more about the NCDs, so that people can be aware of NCDs. Now, even if we do the more training for CHPs, they'll have the right information on how to take care of the people who are suffering with the NCDs.
Yeah. Bevan, I'm looking at the cost of treatment for NCDs. It's very high for some NCDs. Practical example is diabetes. At least we used to have ARVs that were provided by the government. And when it comes to the cost of treatment, sometimes it's on the higher side. What are other challenges that people who are suffering from these diseases have to undergo, and especially when it comes to information?
I would mention the information part, but I also mention the family or the caregivers, the effect of having an NCD patient and you being a caregiver. It is devastating, because managing, especially when you have a patient who is much advanced and their productivity is very low.
Okay.
Becomes a very challenging point. In terms of information, you have also caregivers who are not able to know how do we manage even diabetes, hypertension in that case. So.
All right, thank you so much. I'm informed that we've run out of time, but this is a conversation that I want us to really open up, because there are so many non-communicable diseases that Kenyans are suffering silently. But on hand to help us delve into this has been Bevan Mugoshi, who is an Bevan Mugoshi on the far left, who is a type 1 diabetic and also an NCD advocate. And also we had Kamau Amos, who is a nutrition advocacy advocate. Many thanks indeed for joining us. Let's wrap it up. I'm Bentro Njue. Many thanks indeed. I'll be catching you next at 1 p.m. with more news in regards to what is happening in the country and beyond. You have yourself a blessed afternoon.